Okay, let's now bring our tiles into Campaign Cartographer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open Campaign Cartographer, and you can actually see here's an example of where I've brought in some custom tiles for making some dioramas. This is a wall section for a Dark Heresy campaign that I've been running because it's grim dark tiles. And yes, those tiles are available in the as a public commons, what do they call it? Yeah, commons commercials, whatever it is. Anyway, they're free for you to use. Um, Click on the links below and you'll see the full library there. But we're going to use these tiles in a way which is probably more familiar with most of you, which is in a dungeon map. So I'm going to click on dungeons. I'm going to go to the predefined dungeon set, and I'm going to choose the most basic dungeon I can find, which is the Campaign Cartographer 100 by 80. Now you can start with any template you wish. When you get this, if you were creating, we better go to the dungeon designer as well, make it easy. There we go. You'd normally be drawing your rooms using these sort of tools over here. So if we wanted to draw a room, we could click on this. You could select the fill style of the room. You could make it say flagstones. You could select the fill style of the wall. We'll make that one maybe cobblestones, a little bit tighter, and you could just draw your room and it would fill it in with all the beautiful tiles as we see there. I want to get that level of functionality, but for our new tiles. How are we going to do that? The first step is to bring them into Dungeon Designer. And I'm going to save this map off before I do anything else. I'm going to save it on my desktop for the moment. I'm going to call it test fills. Yep, there we go. So let's bring in all of our tiles. You can bring in the tiles all at one time and really automate a lot of the import process. Yes, you can bring them in one at a time, but why would you? Especially if you've got folders which have got 30, 40, 50 tiles in them. So we're going to import our bitmap files. When it first starts, you're going to get this input here, and it doesn't make a lot of sense off the bat, but the @ symbol means it's a relative path. And this is really important. I referred to it in my previous video, but I'm going to go over it again. If you do not put your tiles inside the appropriate folder within Campaign Cartographer, when you move your map to a different computer, it's not going to be able to find those files. And it's a real pain in the neck. So relative path is the way to go. Let's go and grab our files here. So we've put them inside this folder called Sandcastle Tiles. That's where we outputted them to. I'm going to grab this, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to move it onto my C drive. You find the hidden folder called Program Data. You scroll down till you find Pro Fantasy. You go into CC3 Plus, you find the bitmaps, and then you go into tiles, and then you go Control V and paste it in there. And I know that's a lot of work. When Pro Fantasy publishes their tile sets, they pretty much do this automatically for you. This is exactly what happens in behind the scenes with the installer. We're just doing it manually. So we've now got our Sandcastle tiles there. I'm going to close that down. Let's go browse, and we've got to go to the same place. The good news is the browse took us to the appropriate folder, so we just had to go to bitmap folder, tiles. Let's find our Sandcastle tiles. Sandcastle. There they are. You just need to select one of them. We've got the folder in relative to the Campaign Cartographer data path. Now, if your PNG files have a transparency, because you can create tiles that sit over the top of other tiles, you would leave this one checked. These ones are opaque. We don't need to bother about that. I don't normally create other resolutions, but you certainly can do that. And that's useful if you're going to be creating very large maps that you want to scale out and save you a lot of memory. In this particular instance, we're not going to, and honestly, you won't even notice if you do check this or leave this off. So let's just leave that scaled off. I do want you to set this though. I want you to scale it, and I want you to scale each of the tiles to 10 foot, because that is the size that we created for our, when we were creating our tiles, that's the size that we wanted them to be. Pretty much everything else you can just click on OK. It's told us that it's imported some fills. Let's go and take a look at them. If we come over here now to the bitmap fills, we can now see that we have got these new fills here. So I'm going to click on Sandcastle 1. You can see that the sample width currently is set at 1/4 of a foot. Let's change that to 10 feet, and you can see what this is going to look like. Now I'm just going to click on OK. Oh, it's asking me to save my work. So if I was to draw a floor now, I could just go bang, done. Looks really good right off the bat. But that's not enough. I mean, you now can start drawing these manually, but as you can see, I accidentally drew that on the walls layer. I'm going to go Control V. How do I create a tool that uses my new fills? You can see I've got another fill down here. Let's use this one. I could draw this fill, but it's not that usable if we can't automate it as a tool. So I'm going to come over to my room. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going, and this is the great part. This is why I love Dungeon Designer. I'm going to create a sandcastle floor. I'm going to create a wall for it, and the wall, I'm going to use a flagstone wall for this one. And I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to draw my room. Bingo. And now if I turn on my activate my sheets, look at that. We're just starting to get an amazing, amazing effect already. I'm going to click on Add Corridor, and I'm going to just use the exact same thing. I'm just going to create a corridor straight down from there. I'm going to create another room, but this time I'm going to change to sandcastle number, maybe number 3. And I'll create a room to there, to there. So you can see already this has now got its own unique look and feel, and we've completely automated all of this. It's just fantastic. And yes, you can make fill styles for the walls. The next thing that you might want to do is put a grid line over this. So I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go hex square overlay. Make sure your labeling is turned off. Click on apply. And what I'm going to now do is apply a special effect to that grid, just so that you can really make this pop. There you go. And now you can see when we zoom in on our map, you get these lovely, clear, concise lines. By the way, one of the things that I do like to do with the walls is I actually like to put the grid under the walls. So to do that, I'm just going to move this up like so. And there you go. So now it's very clear that each of these lovely little tile steps here are 5-foot steps. So that's it. That's how you go about creating tiles that look really good with minis and with your campaign. It also lets you create tile sets that are slightly different but all related so that your map hangs together better. So I hope this has been useful for you. If you've got any questions, go on over to the unofficial Pro Fantasy Support Club web Facebook thingy or come to the master mapping class. And do not forget, we've got a growing library of these tiles that you can just take and load into Campaign Cartographer, just as I've done here. Cheers, guys. Bye.